2012. Before at App, he wrestled at Sapulpa High School in Oklahoma, where he was a 4-time state qualifier and the first 3-time state champion in Sapulpa High School history. He also earned varsity letters in football and golf. While at App State, his freshman year, he started right out of the gate and led the Mountaineers with a team-best 24 wins on his way to earning all freshman accolades. He started his collegiate career off by winning 6 of his first 7 matches. He earned 3 wins at the Lone Star Duels and finished 3rd place in the Southern Conference Championship his freshman year. His sophomore year, he finished a solid campaign with a 22-12 record, second on the team with 14 dual meet victories. He was 5th place at the Michigan State Open, 3rd place at the Keystone Classic, and runner-up in the Southern Conference tournament at the 165-pound weight class. His junior year, he led the team with 38 wins, tied for most ever by a Mountaineer. He won 15 of his 16 final regular season bouts. He won the Southern Conference tournament by beating the Citadel 4-3 in a close match. He was an NCAA qualifier this year and finished the season ranked number 18th by the NWCA and was also the most outstanding wrestler of the Southern Conference tournament. His senior year, he set a program record for wins in one season with 40 wins, earned All-American honors, placing 4th at the NCAAs in St. Louis. He was named to the All-Southern Conference team and named Southern Conference Wrestler of the Year. He took 3rd place at the Hokie Open, won the Keystone Classic title, finished 5th at the Reno Tournament of Champions, and took 3rd place at the prestigious Southern Scuffle, again capping off his last year as a Mountaineer with an All-American 4th place finish. Welcome to Beyond the Mat with Kyle Blevins. Kyle, can you hear me, man?
I can hear you, Dom.
Heck yeah. Well, first,
you loud and clear on that introduction.
Did you like that?
That was good.
That wasn't too bad, man. Well, I mean, heck, it's got some a lot of accomplishments in there that I don't get to say a whole lot on these videos. So, first off, appreciate you spending some time with us here. You're busy Monday. I know you're a busy guy, busy father right now, so we appreciate you being on. But we'll jump right into it, man. Question 1, it's the first question I ask everyone. How did you get started in the sport of wrestling?
Man, well, the only story I can really recall is my parents didn't know what to do with me because I had so much energy that they had to get me into something to, burn off all that energy, and I just wanted to crawl all over everybody. So first off, they put me in wrestling, and it's funny because my dad kind of learned the sport with me. He never wrestled before, and he coached me all up until I was in like junior high when you start wrestling for the school. And then he was a cheerleader then, but he was my coach pretty much from the day I started to the day I started wrestling with the school. And just a lot of fond memories of me and him, and training and getting ready, the preparation for a match. He's a big part of like me getting, when I get ready for matches in high school or whenever I was getting ready for matches in college, all the things that I did whenever I was younger, it kind of paved the way. It prepared me for those times,
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, then we'll jump it up here from when you first started and get right into high school. So you were a 4-time state qualifier and a 3-time state champion. Talk us through your freshman year. I'm assuming you won it your sophomore, junior, senior year. So talk us through your freshman year at Sapulpa.
Kind of like my freshman year at App State, just doing a bunch of crazy stuff that you see freshmen do,
Yeah.
They don't know rhyme or reason other than that's what they know to do. And so I was actually what won a lot of matches for me my freshman year was leg riding.
Yeah.
I started riding legs whenever I was was, I think, 7th grade. And, starts off very basic, just riding 2 legs. And then I was able to control older, stronger guys my freshman year by riding legs.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Well, sounds like that probably helped out as well. In your sophomore year, you go to the state tournament after not placing, and now you go ahead and you take first place. So what was that like? What was the big transition going from just being a qualifier to then winning it the next year?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Usually people don't ask that question, but yeah, I can't really put anything to it other than just developing and getting older, getting stronger. Because I knew the sport. I'd wrestled since I was 5 or 6 years old. So
right,
I knew the sport. It just had to. I don't know. Take a year to grow.
Yeah, I mean, heck, if I couldn't, being a teammate of yours for what 2-3 years, I bet you probably busted your tail between that freshman sophomore year, man. Probably developed more than most people do.
Well, I'm a competitor, and it's just kind of second nature to compete in everything that I do. I played golf. I played quarterback on the football team.
Yeah.
Actually, that year in football, I didn't start till the first playoff game in the postseason. I've been a starter on the football team forever, and didn't get a starting spot till first playoff game that year, and so maybe that was a little bit of it, just having to try to figure it out, like overcome some obstacles.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I had a real good drill partner my freshman year too, though. My freshman year, he gave me a real good transition into high school. He was a junior. He was, I think, 2 weight classes above me. I was wrestling 130. He was wrestling 145. And he wasn't anything special as far as a wrestler or an athlete goes. He just was a worker. He knew how to work.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like my first memories of, as far as wrestling goes, someone teaching me how to work and practice.
Yeah, for sure. So, and we'll get to that. I got some questions on the football and golf thing here in a second. But let's talk about the junior year, the junior and senior year. So you win it your sophomore year. Now you got that pressure to repeat your junior year, which you win again, and then your senior year you got that pressure as well. Did you dominate the state tournaments your junior, senior years, or did you kind of walk through them, or did you have a lot of pressure on your shoulders? Talk us through those last 2 years.
Well, I'm going to start with my first year, and then I'll follow. I'll just talk about the state tournament. I had to beat a guy in the finals my sophomore year for the second week in a row.
Oh, wow.
I beat him in the regional tournament finals, and I beat him, I think, 5-0. And I was actually losing the match with a minute to go my sophomore year. It was it was tied up, actually. I was on top, and I've been riding this guy, trying to ride him out. And I looked at my coach, and I kind of threw my hands up like, what do I do? I don't know. I don't know if I can ride him.
Yeah.
And he does the same thing. He kind of like does this. And well, I'm just going to roll the dice, I guess, because last thing I wanted to happen was, I put in a good ride and then him get out the last 15, 20 seconds. And I don't have time for nothing.
Right.
So with a minute to go, I cut him loose and pretty much chased him around the mat for a minute. And why he took a shot, to this day, I still don't know. But he took a shot in the last 10 seconds. I hit my butt and I boot scooted the corner because it was a head outside shot. And
did he get in?
The corner, hooked his ankle, got my 2. We go out of bounds and there's 3 seconds left. So we restart. I hold him down. I just clinch onto him, and time runs out. I win by 1 point.
No way. So he got in. Did he get in deep on that shot, which made you scoot the corner, or?
it was reaction. It was wrestling. I was chasing him around the mat, and he shot, and I couldn't. I just reacted. I mean, it was wrestling. If I had to do it again, I probably wouldn't have it again. But I reacted so quick. I sat the corner, beat his shoulder. I mean, it was like I was doing it in practice.
Dang, man. Dang, that's awesome.
Anyways, my next 2 years, I actually went undefeated my junior year. I didn't lose a match, and my senior year, I lost one match. I lost the only match that John Mark ever watched me wrestle, like live.
Oh, really?
No, seriously. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so in Texas at the Lone Star Duels, he watched me wrestle down there in high school, and he just kind of like ran into my high school coach, and I don't know what started the conversation, but they talked, and then he watched me wrestle, and I actually lost in overtime, in the ride out overtime to a guy from Bishop Lynch. Yeah, and my coach. This is classic. My coach got thrown out of the tournament because it was a dual tournament for the high school kids. He actually got thrown out of the tournament.
Oh, jeez.
During that duel. Yeah.
And John Mark saw that one, huh?
That was the only one he saw. Skylar Holman watched me wrestle back in Sapulpa, but John Mark watched me lose that one.
Well, to everybody tuning in, this is Kyle Blevins. This is Beyond the Mat, and appreciate everybody that's tuned in right now. Go ahead and share the video on whatever platform you're watching on. And if you got any questions, maybe we can get to them in the video, and I do my best to get to them. Put them in the live chat, and if you got any questions for Kyle, again, I'll ask as time goes on. And it looks like we had a Chase Duke chime in, Kyle, and he said sophomore to senior year, Kyle pulled off some of the greatest come from behind wins I have ever seen. So that's Chase Duke giving you a shout out.
Awesome, thanks, Chase.
But all right, let's jump into your still in high school here. We'll get to App State here in a sec. But you also played football and golf.
Yeah, I was the quarterback on the football team pretty much all growing up, and I played golf. I played baseball until I started playing golf for the school. I played baseball from, T-ball from when you first start all the way up.
Right.
And I played third base and I pitched. So that's kind of why I was the quarterback on the football team. I had an arm. I was a freaking athlete, and I was the best person for the position,
Yeah. If
I could have had my pick, I probably would have played other positions, but that's what I played.
Did you ever play golf with John Mark while you were up here?
Man, that was one of the selling points that got me to App State.
Ah.
I like to play golf. But
anyways,
well,
we're gonna get to that here. My next question. So let's not jump ahead. We're getting to that here soon. All right. Well, let's just jump in.
I know what question's coming next, because that's always the second question.
Well, let's go ahead and get to it. So, all right. So now you come from Sapulpa. You're a 3-time Oklahoma State champ, and you come to App State. Were you heavily recruited out of high school? Did you have your schools in your hometown or in your home state looking at you? What made you choose App State over maybe some other schools?
I actually was supposed to take a recruiting visit to Central Oklahoma whenever I got back from my recruiting visit at App State. And, knowing the process now of recruiting and having been a recruiter, and I wish I would have been honest with those guys and said, hey, look, I had a great time at App State. It's a beautiful place, and it's the right fit for me. I wish I could have said that, but, being a high school kid, I just kind of blew them off when I came back, and I didn't really talk to them. But UCO was heavily after me. But other than that, the state schools, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, they didn't give me a whole lot of looks. And I kind of knew that wasn't the fit for me anyways, because, yeah, I was a 3-time state champ, but there was a lot of other guys in the state that were a lot better than I was, and they were having trouble cracking the lineup there at Okie State and Oklahoma, and I wanted to wrestle, and there was a spot in the lineup for me at App State, and that's how John Mark kind of sold it to me, and man, it was a dream going Division I and moving right into the lineup, starting my freshman year without redshirting. That was ideal for me.
Heck yeah. Yeah, and I mean, now that I think back at it, most guys we have on these episodes, they usually redshirt throughout either their freshman year or throughout their career. Yeah. I don't know. You might be one of the first ones that hasn't redshirt. You just went 4 years back to back.
Yeah, I never redshirted. Yeah, it would have been cool to redshirt to have another year, but man, it's a freaking grind going through college wrestling season and a college wrestling career. It's whenever you're done with it, it's something that you can hang your hat on and say that you've done it, but you don't want to do it again because it's tough. You know, the traveling, the school, the making weight, diet. I mean, just learning how to diet as a high school kid, coming out of high school is tough. My sophomore year at App State, I felt like was one of my poorest years because my nutrition was crap. I just wasn't eating the right foods. Whenever you train at that high of a level, you need to be giving your body the right foods. And it's not that I was eating pizza. If I'd ate pizza every night, it probably would have been better for me than what I was eating, honestly.
Dude, it's crazy. So soon as you leave, soon as I left, everything gets better. They got a nutritionist now. They've got a fuel station where they can get shakes after their lifts, all kinds of stuff, man. So
it takes the dummy out of it. If you're a dummy and you don't know what to feed yourself, you're living on your own. Like, hey, there you go.
Yeah.
One less thing you got to think about.
Looks like we got, I think some of your boys chiming in here. Some of your wrestlers, Kyle. We got a Noah, Caden, Parker.
Oh, I bet.
They're all calling you a stud, saying, "Let's go, Coach." What up, Coach B? I guess that means Coach Blevins. So they're all tuned in watching.
Man, that's funny. Hey, you want to hear something? Little side snippet.
Yeah.
I wrestled in an old timers tournament up here in Oklahoma last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a group of boys went down and me and one of my assistants, we both wrestled in it. And actually, no. Me and two of my assistants and a friend. But we went and wrestled in this old timer tournament, and it was 1 minute periods. 1 minute periods. Yeah, it was crazy. One of the guys we took, he couldn't make it 3 minutes. He was crawling off the mat. Anyways, they went down and they watched me at the tournament, and those kids, man, they're something else.
Well, how'd you do, man? You got to tell us how you did.
Oh, well, I brought home the gold, but I kind of felt bad after my first match because I was like pumped up, man. I was hyped up, ready to go. Like I was heavy hands, like wanting to scream somebody. And
oh, gee,
snapped him down to a front headlock, and he was clamped onto my arm, and I couldn't get him off my arm. So I kind of from my knees picked him up off the mat a couple of times and bam, bounced his head off the mat, and I still couldn't get him off my arm, so I just kind of laid there on top of him. Stalemated us and started us again.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, that's awesome.
It was a funny show. I tech falled the guy in 3 minutes.
I mean, when you're over here pumping yourself up saying heavy hands, that's just, I mean, to begin with, Kyle, your hands are just heavy as is. So for you, amping yourself up saying heavy hands, that's funny. Dalton Fox said greatest of all time.
That was actually the first match that my wife ever got to watch me wrestle, or that tournament. She never watched me wrestle in high school. She never watched me wrestle at App, and she was with me whenever I was coaching at GW, but yeah, she never saw me compete.
And so she got to see it there.
Yeah. We didn't have June with us, did we? Yeah, we didn't have my little girl with us, but yeah, it was fun, man. It was a bunch. There was some old guys. They had two different age classes. They had a 18 to 35, and they had a 35 and up. And some of them guys, there wasn't a ton of old farts, but some of them you're like, man, how is he still going?
Man, that's crazy. That's awesome. All right, well, we'll get into the next one here. So describe your style. Describe your wrestling style.
Man, that funky, just funk. That's how I describe it, like, initially. But, man, I guess cat and mouse. Feel the guy out. So much of my wrestling whenever I was younger, whenever I was a little guy and then into high school was, the mental game right here between the ears. It was the mental game. For me, it was always confidence. You gotta have the confidence to go out there and execute. If I wasn't confident in a match, I wasn't going to execute. And so, man, I guess I could say whenever I was wrestling, I was my biggest enemy,
Yeah.
But anyways, cat and mouse, like, feel the guy out, get out there, move him around a little bit, feel where there's cracks in his defense. If I got a good single leg shot and I can attack his left leg, because that's his lead leg and that's the side I'm going to go. If I can get to a high crotch or something with my head on the right side, I'm going there first.
Yeah.
If he's big, strong dude, I'm going to have to slow him down a little bit, and I'm going to have to wear him out and get him tired. And then in the third period, I can start working my stuff. Things are going to open up.
Yeah. Well, I
tried to outlast people in matches. That's for sure.
Oh, you always did, man. You had a gas tank like no other. And I would describe your style as doing the work. John Mark would say it all the time. Do the work. Dude, you would, especially like when you said that one match in high school where you didn't let the guy, you cut the guy to go get a takedown to win the match.
Yeah.
I mean, you rode the heck out of people in college, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You didn't let anybody up. If you could help it.
Yeah. So, it does. A ride takes it out of you, and it's a confidence thing. I guess I wasn't confident in the moment that I could ride the guy out, but for whatever reason, I thought I could take him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Whenever you came on the scene at App State, I'm gonna talk about you a little bit. Whenever you came on the scene at App State, it was like a shot to my heart because I was winning most of the races, or I was like in front, and then whenever you got there, it was like, you'll never win a race again. Because this guy is a freaking track star and has hollow bones, and I swear your feet would get off the ground whenever you'd run.
Dude, that's just my mentality, man. I wasn't gonna let anybody beat me in a run. That's all that is.
Right. That's what you gotta have.
Yeah. Especially John Mark. John Mark. I remember one time we were doing I forget what run we were doing. But I turned around. I was at the top of this hill. He was at the bottom, starting to come up, probably 300 yards behind me, and I saw him coming. And I was kind of taking it easy. I just took off, so I beat him by 400 yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Statement.
Yeah, that's yeah. Anyway, it's not relevant to the story. To what we're doing. All right, we'll move on here. Again, talking with Kyle Blevins, All-American for App State. You got questions, put it in the chat. We'll get to them. Go ahead, share the videos, especially the high school wrestlers, go ahead, share this video. We'll get more people on here. But what injuries, if any, did you have in college, Kyle? Did you have to struggle through any injuries, rehab, or did you miss tournaments? Talk us through that.
I think I missed 1 or 2 practices because of I think I might have had like a ringworm that came up, and man, it went away like really quick. I think something like that might have happened. But as far as injuries go, I wrestled through a few injuries, but they weren't like so bad that it really took me out of my game. I had to remember when I had to wear that like diaper looking thing on my head? You ever remember that? It was like this big white pad on the top of my headgear. It's because my drill partner and roommate, Blakely, oh my goodness, we were drilling one day, or I think we might have been wrestling live, and I like take a shot, and he sprawls out, and his tooth catches me right in the top of the head. And, man, it split me open. I had to get stitches for that. And
I do remember that now. Yeah.
We had a match come up, and I think it was Jimmy that freaking put together this diaper-looking thing, and it went on top of my headgear, and he just taped it, a big pad. And so I had that, and then I had this weird thing with my elbow. Like, I don't think I hyperextended it. Something just happened from the grind, from training and practice. I couldn't extend my elbow all the way. Like, I was in the training room, and I'd do this, and it wouldn't extend all the way. So Jimmy taped me up so that it, kept my range of motion to a minimal as far as extension goes. And
yeah.
At the national tournament, I would say one thing that I had going on with me, and I'm so glad that I had a trainer and somebody with some kinesio tape. But my senior year at the national tournament, we get out there, 2 days before. We're training, getting our workout in. Well, our first workout in St. Louis, if it was the day before, it was like that morning, it was first workout. And my back was so tight. My back, it always got tight, from wrestling and people pulling on your head all the time and cutting weight and stuff. My back got tight. I would lay down on my socks or lay down on my back to put my socks on, like before class, that was like a usual thing. But whenever we got to St. Louis, my back was so tight, I could barely get in a stance. It took like 15 or 20 minutes of warming up with John Mark and just tumbling and different stuff till I could finally like get down in a stance. Cause it felt like I had a board strapped to my back. I was so stiff.
Jeez, man.
Yeah. It was so uncomfortable. And all it was tight muscles. There wasn't anything wrong with me. It was just tight muscles. And Jimmy had some kinesio tape, and I don't know if he'd ever had like a whole lot of experience with it. He just had it and was going to use it on me, try it out. And they put a big piece up on my shoulder, and then they took 2 strips and they went straight down my spine on each side.
Yeah.
I wore that tape the whole tournament, never took it off. The next day I get up for weigh-ins, first day competition. I felt great.
Dang.
Felt absolutely amazing. I couldn't believe like how much that fixed to me. But yeah, I would say, man, if it wouldn't have been for that, I don't know. I don't know how I would have made it through the tournament, because you do kind of have to be like pampered a little bit for the tournament. Everything's on you, whatever you want. If I'd have been in much pain, I don't know if I would have performed like I did.
All right. Well, I don't know if Jimmy's on here. If you are, let us know. But shout out to Jimmy Strickland. That was the trainer at that time. And yeah, I mean, Jimmy did a lot of work with me, helped me get back to 100% of what I can be with injuries I had. So heck yeah, man. I didn't even know that. I know you had that tape on you.
Yeah.
but I didn't know it was that bad. But again, talking with Kyle here, we got some other people chiming in. Kyle, we got a Jason Pepper. Says you're an amazing person, coach. High school, they're lucky to have you. You got a Gage Fisher, one of the peerest teachers of the sport. And then a Noah Alexander. He said that Coach B definitely turned his life around for the better. So a lot of people tuning in here, Kyle. So let's move on here. What coach do you spend the most time with at App?
What coach did I spend the most time with?
Yeah,
definitely John Mark.
Yeah, you guys would always battle it out.
Definitely John Mark.
And you would do individuals all the time with him and so on, correct?
Yeah, my freshman year all the way through my senior year, he would pull me out of class, and we used to joke about it because there was nothing pleasant about working out with John Mark. There was never a pleasant, like, oh, we're just going to come in, we're going to drill today. We're going to work on this, we're going to work on that. We're going to spend 45 minutes. It's what we're going to work on. No, it was 45 minutes to an hour of, first of all, live drilling, and then live drilling. There's such a thing, and it's Mark's pace. That's what it is. Live.
Yeah.
And then we would go live after that, and live usually consisted of him basically beating the crap out of you and getting the amount of takedowns that he felt satisfactory. Whenever he got enough takedowns and he was done with you, okay, all right, go hit the shower.
Hey.
Gosh, hey.
But it's funny though, right? It's funny. So when you think back at the live drilling, right? Not the live wrestling, getting the crap beat out of you, you can understand that.
Not slow drilling, not sparring either. Not sparring, live drilling.
Right. But then you look back at that, after your career, and you're like, oh wow, okay, that's actually probably giving me the best feel I've ever needed for when I am out in a match. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You remember when I told you about that high school drill partner I had?
Yeah.
My freshman. He was my freshman and my sophomore drill partner. He was one of the first people that taught me how to work. Well, John Mark was another one of those people that taught me how to work.
Yep.
And just work and go at it. And there was never, like I said, there's no ever talking about your wrestling. There's no, we're going to work on this. It's go, keep up. You got to keep up. If you can't keep up, he's going to bury you right there in varsity gym. But yeah, I mean, what I learned from him is invaluable. You can't put a price on it. The skills that I learned from him, the work ethic, hell, the passion that he has for the sport, it's invaluable. And being one of the people that he chose to work on and chose to develop makes me feel good,
Yeah.
Because he saw that and he worked on me and put a lot of time into me, and it's a big deal for a coach and an athlete, that relationship, that bond.
No, for sure, and yeah, man, it obviously paid off. I mean, he took fourth place at the toughest tournament in all of college Division I athletics. So,
you know what, that senior, I got a funny story about that senior year if you got time for it.
Yeah, we got all time in the world. Go for it.
Oh my goodness. So, John Mark, I think my junior year, he stripped out of his coaching clothes and he went in the locker room because it's at the Convocation Center, and he goes down, he changes, and I warm up for Lusendorf from the Citadel.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready for him, final match of the day, and I got my butt whipped by him in our home duel we had that year, and he gets his stuff on, and I warm up with him. I drill with him before, well, I drill on him because he didn't do anything. I just did every takedown. After about 10, 15 of the. I was like, man, he's not going to take a shot. I'm going to do this all. But anyways, he warms me up for that match. Fast forward a year later, my senior year, it's the opening round of the national tournament, first round, and he drills with me. He's got his stuff on. He drills with me before the tournament starts, and he was my first loss of the day. John Mark was. He was my first loss of the day because he kicked my butt so bad that I thought I'd lost the match after we got done warming up. And I was so mad. I'm sure you've seen some of the stuff in practice, but anyways, I was so mad. I took my chin, the strap that goes around your chin. I like ripped it off like this, and I took my headgear and I slammed it down on the ground, like right out there amongst everybody on the floor. And I'm just like huffing and puffing real hard, and he's like, "What?" And he looks at me, and I just wanted to kill him. I was like, nothing. And I just kind of like turn around and gather my senses. But he made sure I got a good warm up for that first round.
Yeah. Well, this
I just share that.
It's kind of a good segue into the NCAAs here. So I want to talk about this. Question's on your senior year.
Yeah.
So you take second in the Southern Conference tournament. Obviously not your goal that year. So now you gotta get a wild card, or did your weight class have multiple bids that year? Either or.
Yeah.
You qualified for the NCAAs, right? You took second at the conference, so you're probably frustrated with that. That's obviously not your goal. You go to the NCAAs, you lose your first round match, and then you battle back in the toughest tournament, which very few people do what you did in that tournament and win all the way through to get to the third and fourth place match. Talk us through that. What was going? Because this is something even I want to know. What's going through your mind? You're going in the NCAAs. You didn't win conference. You lose your first round, and now you got to battle all the way back. What's going through your mind, man?
I lost 2 in a row. Southern Conference Finals and first match of the NCAA. So the last 2 matches have been losses.
Right.
Yeah, it was rough. If anybody, you've wrestled the tournament before. If you could explain it to anybody, you would explain it to them as the toughest match of your life, every single match. And that's what it was. It was nothing but that. And I can vividly, because I've slept since then, and I've actually went to a lot of other wrestling tournaments since then. But I can go through each match. My first match with Evans, I felt helpless. That man rode me like a magic carpet. It was so bad. He rode me for a full minute, and then he took me down in the first period and rode me for that whole minute, however much was left of it. And that was bad. Oh my gosh. I remember I stood up, he returned me, I stood up again. He goes to return me, I hit a Granby, and I rolled through it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna clear out on this one. And he just rolls right with me, goes out of bounds, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm never gonna get away from him. I look over in the corner, and John Mark's like, yeah, just keep going. I'm like, man, I'm tired. This dude will not get off my back. I ended up losing that one to Mike Evans. And so my next match, I don't have to explain what you're thinking in that match. And your first backside match of the tournament, senior year, I was thinking everything that you're probably guessing I was thinking. Oh my God, this is my last match, could be my last match of my career. I got to get ready to go. Got to win this one because I need one more. I want to wrestle one more match before I'm done. And it's funny, but the entire tournament, that's what I kept telling myself. One more, just one more match. Just wrestle one more. Not so much the fact that, you know, I'm like, you talked about being competitive earlier, man. The sprints mean something to me in practice. Winning my last match means something. I mean, it's not many wrestlers get to go out on top, you know, winning your last match. And it was just win one more. I beat the first round backside match. I beat Scott Winston from Rutgers, and he was I think my class's top recruit in 2008 coming out of high school. He was the top recruit, and I had actually watched him, I think, lose out in the blood round match the year before. And I end up beating him, and it was just like snowball effect, man. I just kept winning and just gaining steam, and that was the strongest man I ever wrestled, Scott Winston. He's like trying to grab a brick wall and wrestle it because he was so thick. He was short. God dang, he couldn't have been taller than 5'2", 5'3". I mean, he was just a little
stocky as can be.
Gosh, I beat him, and then I think my next match was. I think my next match was a guy from Cal Poly, and I beat him. God, I beat him 2-6. It felt almost like an easy match at the NCAA's, you know. But 2-6 ain't. I mean, that's not a landslide. It's not a tech fall or major or nothing. But I beat him 2-6, and then I beat a guy from Michigan that actually the previous year at the Southern Scuffle, he beat me twice at the Southern Scuffle, like a man, like just controlled me and beat on me for 2 matches. And that was one of my favorite wins at the national tournament, actually, because he had beat me twice in the same tournament. So he was from Michigan. Oh man, I actually coached against him the next year. When Hunter Gamble went to the national tournament, He was wrestling this guy from Michigan, and I saw who he had, and I was like, oh, man, it's not going to be good because Hunter's a little freshman. He lucked. I can't say luck. I almost said lucked into going there. He earned it. But, boy, he was crafty about how he won his Southern Conference Finals match. He gets to the national tournament, and this dude, I mean, if you were to imagine a Michigan wrestler, this is the guy that you would get in your mind. I mean, he looked like Superman. He was just all there, just ripped up, just full of the weight class. But anyways, he pummeled Hunter that year. I beat him. And then my next match, I beat from Illinois, a guy, his name was Conrad Poles. And I actually went to my senior year, I won the Dave Schultz Award.
Yeah.
I won the Dave Schultz Award.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's an awesome trip, isn't it?
Yeah, to Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an awesome trip. I saw Conrad Poles there. He was one of the guys there, but I end up beating him. Crazy. I still have all my matches from the NCAA tournament, and his match with him was the craziest because we went into a scramble and we came up, and you know how I'm good about defending people when they get on a shot, a single leg, they get up, and I do that to them. Well, me and him were. We got in a scramble, and both of us came up with a leg, and we're standing up. So he had my leg, I had his leg, and we're both standing here bouncing up and down, like trying to fight each other on one leg. And I end up getting a takedown on that one.
Really? I don't remember seeing that.
Cool. That was the coolest thing I'd ever like experienced probably as a wrestler, getting in a scramble like that and coming out on top.
You need to send me that clip. I want to see that. I don't remember that clip.
All right. I beat him, and then I think the match before that was with the Nebraska Kokesh, the guy I beat in the blood round match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the match before. I think I wrestled Kokesh, and then I wrestled Poles, and then I wrestled Asper. I think was the next match, because that was the 5th and 6th place match, and I won that match, and I wrestled for 3rd and 4th against Beckside, and this guy, he went on to beat Burroughs a couple of years after that national tournament. He beat Burroughs out of a medal. It might have been at Worlds, I think. But those I'm gonna try to be nice here. Those guys that wrestle across the pond, those guys that are international wrestlers, they are that. It sucks wrestling them. It sucks. Okay, plain and simple. But they are so weird to wrestle. When we wrestled my 3rd and 4th place match, for one, he rode me, and that wasn't pleasant. For two, whenever he'd shoot a double leg, he's like Austin Trotman. He'd get these little, he'd get them like this right behind your knee, and if he could get his fingertips on your knee, he'd pull it in, and you were done. I mean,
yeah.
He was going to take you down.
I remember watching that, man. Where was he from?
He was from Clarion.
Clarion, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
No. He went to college at Clarion.
yeah. He's not from Clarion.
He went to school at Clarion, but I think his native country was Uzbekistan, because that's where I think he was representing Uzbekistan whenever he wrestled Burroughs.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, again, to everybody that's tuned in, this is Kyle Blevins here. We got about 15 more minutes. If you got any questions, put them in the chat. Looks like an Isaiah Smith said, Coach Blevins definitely turned my life around. You got a Colton Connell that's saying, what's up, Coach? So looks like a bunch of your boys are still tuned in. Well, let's move on here. We probably might skip some questions. We might skip the let's.
I've been rambling on, man. It's been fun.
No, that's why
I don't get to talk about myself much, so it's been fun.
That's why we do this, man. We're gonna skip the let's scuffle questions, the quick the quick punchline questions. We'll get to some more of these because your answers are great, man. That's why we're on here doing this. Your stories are great. So we'll kind of get out of the realm of wrestling a little bit. What's your fondest memory, your favorite part about Boone? Yeah.
The mountains. I mean, plain and simple, the mountains. Coming from if you ask Scott Irvin, it'd be the hills in Oklahoma, because he's from western Oklahoma, southwest Oklahoma, and it's pretty flat out there. You can watch your dog run away for 3 days out there. But yeah. Probably the mountains, man. Whenever I came on my recruiting visit to App State, I was looking out the window like this, and John Mark's old 4Runner he had at the time, and I was just like looking at the mountains the whole time because it was cool. I mean, the clouds were in the mountains. Like it looked like you could, in Boone, when you're driving around town, you could reach out and just grab one.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Whenever I was going to school at Gardner Webb and I was coaching there, I would routinely take visits up the mountain, even if it was just for the day. It would be go to a swimming hole or go just grab a pizza at Mellow Mushroom. I mean,
yeah.
just come up for the day and go walk somewhere on the Blue Ridge. I mean, all those local spots you learn whenever you're an App Stater.
You can't beat it, man. That's why I can't leave this place. That's why I'm still up here. And you said it before on your recruiting trip. You said it just felt right up here, which that's a common theme with everyone that comes to App. It's like it just felt right, And I think the mountains play a big role in that. Let's see, Brandon. I'm gonna butcher this, Brandon. Brandon, Mauck. He wants you to show your. What is it?
Brandon Mock.
B Mock. He wants you to show. He wants you to show your signature stance. And you got a David House says Blevins is my favorite guy. You got a Nikki Cooper saying that you're talking bad about us foreigners. So a lot of people tuning in, man. This is definitely the most viewers we've had on this episode by far, at least consistently as well. All right, let's get into some of these. We'll get into a couple Let's Scuffle questions here, and then we'll give you the last words before we close out. A couple of these I like asking just because I want to hear your answer. And I think with you, I know the answer for this, but would you rather run Howard's Knob twice back to back, or move mats for camp?
It depends on who you're moving mats with.
I think Mike Kessler said the exact same thing.
It's that is a serious factor that has to either be in or out, depending on who it is. Man, if you got guys that are on your side, they are, the same goal as you. Let's move the mats from A to B and let's do it, not just talk about it or talk about tomorrow or yesterday. Let's move the mats.
How pissed would you get on mat day, man? How pissed would you get?
I would need to know the groups. But mat day did suck. I mean, man, the mat that we used to have, that big 4-piece mat that made like 2 giant circles, that thing was
still got it. Yeah, we still got it.
Oh my goodness,
dude! But it's crazy now. It's crazy now, and I caught this on the back on like the last couple years. So the whole main level, and you've seen it now. The whole main floor are those easy rollout mats.
Oh yeah.
But before they used to be all the 3-section mats that you couldn't tape together, and it would cause a dilemma.
Yeah. Howard Knob, there's no one unless you go to Boone and you're a part of a certain group. There's no one that understands the feeling of running Howard's Knob, but the feeling of having a poor mat moving partner on your team, that's pretty bad.
It is pretty bad. We got
Tony, probably the worst that I ever worked with.
Really?
Yeah. I hope either one of them's listening, because they would buddy up, chum up, and they would almost get lost. And Tony's over there chasing butterflies, and Carter's watching him.
Yeah. We got a question here. You can probably guess who it's from, but the question says, did Blevins tell the story about how I had to come pick him up at his apartment when he overslept the morning we were flying out for the Reno trip?
Oh, man. Is that Christian Sennett?
That's John Mark Bentley.
John Mark. Oh, man. It's a good thing. It's a good thing I was still able to wrestle the rest of that year. But I'm surprised he didn't kill me. Oh, man.
What you doing oversleeping, man?
Oh, man. That was a situation. That was a rough weekend, because not only did I oversleep and not we almost missed the flight. We were so late to the airport. We almost missed the flight to get out.
Oh,
and then I had this bag. I think it was like from the women's soccer team that I picked up somewhere, maybe in varsity gym somewhere. But it had a little little sack on the back that it was like it was elastic, and I just put my shoes back there and just threw them in the back of that. And I get off the plane, and I've only got one shoe in Reno. I've only got one shoe, one wrestling shoe. And so I'm starting to like freak out. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And somebody pulls my shoe out of their bag and gives it to me. And I'm like, I could kill you right now.
Oh, they were messing with you, dude? They were messing with you?
Yeah, I guess they picked it up. I guess it fell out. They picked it up and then they stuck it in their bag instead of giving it back to me. Yeah. And then, man, I had a bad tournament. I felt like I should have been wrestling in the finals that tournament, and I did lucky to win the matches that I won. It was just bad weekend.
Oh man, that's funny. That's too funny. I didn't.
Man, that's funny. What's even funnier is John Mark's on here watching and listening and stuff. That's funny.
He's
glad. I hope he's been here from the beginning.
Who knows? I think they just got back from Nebraska. From freestyle tournament out that way, U23s, I think. But yeah, well, so I'm going to give you the last question here. And again, if there's any last second questions, I'll let us know. We'll get to them if we can. But I'll give you the last question, Kyle, and that question is for everyone. It's what's one thing you hope people will remember you for while wrestling at App?
Being a competitor, because that's what, as far as sports go, you asked me about describing my wrestling style earlier, and I said cat and mouse, but that and being a competitor goes hand in hand. A wrestling match is you and someone else, and that's it. I mean, there's nobody else. There's your coaches in the corner. There's the ref out there blowing a whistle, but that's it. And so you got to have the confidence. You got to put the work in. If you didn't put the work in before competition, before you go out to perform, then you don't deserve to be rewarded. I mean, plain and simple. That's how I feel. And you got to live the right life. I mean, you got to be doing everything right, getting up early, doing your homework, going to practice, doing everything on time, sitting in the front row of your classes. I mean, you could go on and on, but it's all a competition, and there's probably been people along the way that maybe I've rubbed the wrong way, just being a competitor and just having competitive nature, but that's just who I am, and that's really what drove me in the sport of wrestling, was competing against myself, against other teammates, against obviously the competition. But yeah, man,
Heck yeah.
if I be remembered by anything, it'd be man, that guy was a competitor.
Well, I mean, just from me and seeing you wrestle all those years, it's about spot on. And all your high school wrestlers watching, you guys got a good coach, and you're learning from one of the best of them. But we got one last question we'll get to from JMB, and
Okay.
and it's he just wants to know about when you chucked your headgear across the room when you and him were scrapping that one time, and it hit a coach right in the face.
It's a good thing I don't remember that.
You don't?
Oh, it might have been. Oh man, I can't remember his name. Oh man, I think I remember that. I think I do. He was Pierce, Josh Pierce, I think.
You hit Pierce in the face?
I think so. I mean, I probably took a lot of beatings from John Mark from the time that happened to the time I graduated. So my memory's a little fuzzy. So I can't remember. Of course, there was a lot of other times that I threw my headgear in practice too, though. So it's
right.
hard to remember that exact situation.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. You did chuck your headgear a lot, so remembering the specific one. Although, if you hit a coach in the face, that's pretty comical. I don't remember that, but man, that's pretty. But all right, well that's a wrap for tonight. Again, we can't thank everybody for listening to The Grind. I mean, this has been by far the most the most people we have had watch this live. I mean, we've had up to 35 plus people, consistently over 20. So thank you all for watching. We'd like to thank all our Patreon members, Danny and Sharon, Saba, John, Billy, and our first Patreon, Jesse. If you're not a Patreon, we're going to go ahead and post the link to become one here in the live chat. Again, all this money goes back to the wrestling program and helping them do what they do, remain as a top 25 program throughout these years, win conference tournaments. So your support is much appreciated. Again, share our content on every platform that you're watching on. Help us get the word out. This is some really cool stuff here, sharing the history of App State wrestling. So, Kyle, appreciate you coming on tonight, man. We really do. Can't thank you enough. And that's a wrap. I'll give you the last few words, man.
It was cool being on the show. It was cool being a part of this. I like what you guys are doing. It's really cool. And I'm glad that you brought me on and was able to talk to me. It's been a long time since we've talked, man.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm glad a fellow mountaineer was able to walk me through this, and there was some memories there that I shared and talked about that you don't know because you weren't there. You were around, but you may have just not heard about it. So yeah, it was cool to share those.
Yeah, no, for real. And I realize it's a whole lot easier to get a hold of you through Facebook Messenger than it is your own cell phone. So,
man.
But again, for those that are still on, we're going to be one other thing the Grind's going to do is live stream the App State wrestling matches, and the first one we got coming up, I believe, is our inter squad or our black and gold match. So more info on that to come to watch our Division I college wrestling team compete. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. That's all we got for tonight. We'll have another episode on Monday, but have a great rest of the week. Take care.
This episode of The Grind is proudly sponsored by Mountaineer Works. Mountaineer Works, owned and operated by Appalachian State alum and athletics photographer Chad W. Mitchell. Chad designs and builds officially licensed, unique cornhole board sets, and today I give my all plaques that will surely rock your tailgate, party, backyard barbecue, office, or creative space. They're sculptured smooth in the wood lab, fire coated at over 3,000 degrees, and paint dyed in the Cornhole Conservatory to complement their one-of-a-kind grain, then App State branded. The best part is you choose from a set of pre-approved color layouts and App State logos to personally design your cornhole boards, and today I give my all plaque. Mix it up or match it up, you can't go wrong. Show your Mountaineer pride as these make solid gifts for deserving folks. Find Mountaineer Works on Facebook and Instagram to place your order or ask a question.
This has been a production by Yosef Media.